customer is waiting, your account manager knows exactly what to offer. A £300 service credit would probably resolve the issue and protect a £20,000 order. But the owner is in a meeting, so the answer sits in an inbox for 3 days. By the time it arrives, the customer has cooled off and your manager has learnt a lesson. Don't decide, wait. That delay may be the clearest sign that your business has trained people to wait. The business isn't short of capable people. It's short of permission to use their judgment. And that is not an administrative nuisance. It is a growth problem. Businesses don't stop growing by accident. They stop growing because leaders miss what's really holding them back. Welcome to Why Businesses Stop Growing, the podcast for business owners, CEOs, and investors who want to build stronger, more profitable, and more valuable businesses. I'm Chris Wimshurst, Commercial Growth Advisor and founder of Hawthorne Advisory. Each week, I'll diagnose the commercial challenges holding businesses back, share practical insights from over 25 years of leadership and commercial experience, and give clear recommendations to help you grow with confidence and build lasting business value. Today, we're looking at the permission bottleneck, why it forms, what you can do about it, and why decision ownership affects much more than speed. It affects customer trust, revenue, leadership capacity, and the value of a business that may one day need to operate without its current owner. So, why would a sensible leader create a system like this? Usually, it starts with competence. In the early days, the founder solves everything because there are fewer people, fewer customers, and fewer decisions. If something matters, you handle it personally. That is not bad leadership. It is often the reason the business survives. But then the business grows and the decision model doesn't. The owner is still approving discounts, rewriting proposals, checking routine emails, and settling customer complaints. What was once hands-on leadership becomes an invisible operating system. Everyone waits for the system to respond, and the system is one person. There is also a perfectly reasonable fear behind it. If different people make decisions, will customers receive different answers? Will margins slip? Will standards fall? Those risks are real. But personal approval is not the only way to create consistency. Principles, boundaries, and review are usually stronger controls. And here's the uncomfortable bit. The team may not be unconfident. They may simply be reading the consequences of acting. A manager makes a reasonable decision, gets overruled in front of colleagues, and thinks, right, I won't do that again. Another manager escalates a problem and the senior leader immediately takes it back. The message is clear. Bring problems upwards, then stand by. The leader then asks, why does nobody take ownership? The team is thinking, why take ownership when the decision will be taken away? Both sides are frustrated. Both sides are participating in the same loop. You can hear that loop in the language. Here's the problem. What do you want me to do? Or here's the problem. I've considered 2 options and I recommend this one because it protects the customer and keeps us inside margin. Those are not just different sentences. They reveal different levels of decision ownership. Let's pick the sweet corn out of that. You don't solve a permission bottleneck by telling people to be braver. You solve it by making the decision architecture visible. I use 3 simple categories. First, decide independently. These are decisions a named person can make without asking because the risk is understood and the boundary is clear. For example, a customer service manager might approve a credit up to £250, provided the issue is logged and the account remains within target margin. Second, decide within boundaries. This is where most useful commercial judgment lives. Perhaps a sales manager can discount by up to 5 percentage points, provided gross margin stays above 35%, the customer is within approved terms, and the change doesn't create a delivery problem for another team. Those figures are examples, not universal answers. Your numbers will differ. The principle is that the boundary is visible before the decision arrives. Go back to that £20,000 order. Under independent authority, the manager can approve the £300 credit and record it. Under bounded authority, they can act if the credit stays within the limit and margin remains protected. If the request involves a major concession, unusual legal exposure, or a strategic customer, it moves into the 3rd category, escalate with a recommendation. That does not mean, here is a problem, you decide. It means, here is the situation, here are the options, this is my recommendation, and this is what I need from you. What do you recommend? That is the question leaders should be asking. Not because every recommendation will be right, but because judgment only develops when people practice using it. Now, don't map this framework across every decision in the company on Monday morning. Start with one contained area where the weighting is visible. Customer remedies are often a good choice. Routine pricing decisions, recruitment stages, or operational exceptions can work too. For the next week, observe the real process. Who spots the issue? Who speaks to the customer? Who prepares the answer? Who approves it? How long does it take? What happens when the usual approver is away? The formal process may look perfectly tidy. The real process is what happens when a customer is waiting and nobody can find the person with permission. Then name one owner, not a department, not The leadership team, one person. Write down the boundary, the exceptions, and the information they must record. Tell the wider team who owns the decision. Otherwise, people will continue using the old route because habits survive announcements. Track 3 things for 4 weeks. Median approval time, the number of escalations, and the outcome. That outcome might be customer retention, gross margin, resolution time, or another measure that fits the decision. Then review the evidence. Keep the boundary, tighten it or widen it, not based on anxiety, based on what actually happened. And please don't delegate the decision, then approve every move in advance. If you approve every move, you've delegated the administration, not the decision. Review outcomes afterwards. Ask, what did you see? What did you choose? What happened? And what would you do next time? If something goes wrong, ask whether the person broke a clear boundary or whether the boundary was unclear. Those are different problems. Pulling all authority back to the top after one sensible mistake simply trains the business to wait again. Why does this matter? Because speed is part of the customer proposition. Customers don't experience your organization chart. They experience how quickly and confidently you respond. A proposal that waits 3 days for a small approval is less persuasive when it arrives. A customer issue left unresolved becomes harder and more expensive to recover. Time kills deals, and permission bottlenecks manufacture unnecessary time. It matters for leadership capacity as well. When routine decisions move to the right level, senior leaders can focus on direction, commercial improvement, people and risks that genuinely require their attention. The owner doesn't become less important. The owner becomes less of a cue, and it matters for business value. A company that depends on one person for pricing, customer judgment, and operational answers is harder to scale, harder to transfer, and harder for an investor to trust. Clear decision ownership makes capability visible. It means the value lives in the business, not only in the owner's head. So listen for the loop. A capable person sees a decision, pauses, asks for approval, waits, and becomes less confident next time. The leader sees the hesitation, takes the decision back, and becomes even more essential to the next one. Break it with 3 questions. Can this person decide independently? Can they decide within boundaries, or should they escalate with a recommendation? Before your next leadership meeting, find the decision your team waits longest to make. A discount, a customer remedy, a recruitment choice, or an operational exception. Name the owner, write down the guardrail, measure the starting point, and delegate it properly. Just get it done. If this episode made you think differently about the waiting in your business, follow the show and share it with another owner, CEO, or senior leader who may be living inside the same bottleneck. On social media, tell me which decision your team waits longest to make. That answer may reveal more than another strategy workshop. Thanks for listening to Why Businesses Stop Growing. If this episode made you think differently about your business, follow the show and share it with another leader who'll find it valuable. Until next time, keep asking why.